Here he is, the black bear of the Jurassic period. Now what do I mean by that? Well, black bears are good on their own, but when compared to other bears, or in this case theropods, they're pushovers. Except this figure isn't a pushover. In fact, it's pretty good, so let's take a look at him. The painting and sculpting of this guy is pretty good. The rat on the head is what catches the eye while looking at the mostly beige body, which is accompanied by the large dark brown stripes. This also goes for the spikes that run along the back. The head, however, is something that kinda bothers me. It's nothing too bad. The horn is nice and prominent, and the eyes are painted cleanly, but the brown stripes surrounding them are a bit off-putting in my opinion. It's not bad, but the original model used in the film didn't have this. With this, it makes him look like a raccoon. I guess it's to keep the head from looking entirely red, which is understandable, but why do that at the cost of film accuracy? And to top it off, the teeth stick out too much. It isn't really too noticeable when his mouth is open, but when it's closed, the upper teeth makes him look kinda goofy. However, I'll try to live with it. The inside of the mouth itself is sculpted nicely, but the paint is just pink, like with the baryonyx. I mean, the inside of the Amber Collection Raptor mouths have splashes of red in them, so why not have it here? Well, moving on to the arms, they're longer and larger than I thought. That's what she said, but not to me. And the hands are a lot wider. In fact, they're much larger than the original Roarverse figure from the Fallen Kingdom line. I would have liked it if they were a little bit smaller.
Now, the thing I find the most interesting about this figure is the fact that for a time it was the most accurate depiction of the Ceratosaurus from the movies, although I don't know why they chose to use this for the Fallen Kingdom line, as it would have made sense if they used it for the Legacy line, as the Legacy line focuses more on dinosaurs and characters from the older films in the franchise. Of course, it's worth noting that the first film-accurate depiction of Ceratosaurus in figure form was done by Hasbro of all companies, which is saying something since if you know anything about Jurassic Park figures, Hasbro isn't exactly the best. Also, I don't know why I didn't notice this until now, but for some reason the toe claws on this figure aren't painted, which is odd considering the other Roarverse figure's toe claws are painted. Now let's get back to talking about the Ceratosaurus she told you not to worry about.
As for his nails, they're rounded, which kinda disappoints me. I don't know if the real-life Ceratosaurus used its claws for hunting, but if you're gonna give me a killer dinosaur, at least sharpen his gear. In fact, his teeth are more pointier than these claws. Now at his underside, the belly may look like it blends in with the rest of the body's paint, but it's also film accurate, except for this little code here which ruins it a bit for me. My immersion is broken.
I also don't know why it was printed on his crotch of all places.
Lastly, the toenails are painted, except for the dew claw unfortunately.
I think the dew claw is sculpted a little higher than it should be.
So overall, the figure is extremely well done. The balance between details and paint are pretty top notch. Now the posability is pretty straightforward. The upper and lower jaws can open up wide, and the head and neck are on ball joints. Now some of the promotional images show him with added range, but the actual figure itself can't do that. I don't know why they decided to advertise it like that, since it would have been nice if it could do that. The shoulders can rotate and can bend in and out, as well as the elbow, with an included swivel. Of course, the wrists don't have any articulation, which, if you're gonna make the hands that big, why not make them articulated? You guys really decided to wait to give that to Concavenator, but not this guy? Why? The thighs can rotate, and the knees, ankles, and feet can all bend, and each of them can swivel. Lastly, the base of the tail is on a ball joint, and the rest of it is on a bendy wire. The posability of this guy is great. This is pretty much what I expect to see when it comes to the theropods that are released at this scale, which is to say that it's still pretty good, despite some places lacking articulation. I can live without it, but it would have been nice to have more of it. For accessories, well, in terms of accessories, there are no accessories. I don't really know what this thing could come with. I guess the satellite phone, but that'd be kind of pointless. Finally, let's scale him out. He's a good 13 inches long and 6 inches tall. Here he is next to the Figma Sakya Izuyoi, the NECA SOS Goji, the Ember Collection Velociraptor, the Hammond Collection Velociraptor, and the Fallen Kingdom Ceratosaurus. So, should you get this guy? Well, why not? He's well detailed, has a pretty good range of articulation, and for the price you're paying for him, which is normally 20 bucks, you're looking at a really good theropod figure. If you're ever in a need for a mid-size articulated carnivorous dinosaur, then I highly suggest getting this figure. I'm gonna be honest, I had a lot more fun with this figure than I thought, and I hope the same thing goes for you too.
It's crazy how we first saw him as a cameo in Jurassic Park 3, got a decent amount of screen time in Camp Cretaceous, and now here he is as a fully articulated figure. It's quite the trip.
With that all being said, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one, whenever that'll be. The only thing that could top this figure is a Hammond Collection Allosaurus. Then my black bear analogy will make sense.